Hi there everyone and welcome once again to the Train Aid HQ. My name is Nick and in today's video we are going to be looking at delivery in education and training. So this unit is unit 3 of the level 4 course, and we are going to be looking at the different ways in which you can teach, the way that you can promote a range of activities within your own teaching and training. For this assignment criteria, please do use the Angravals Level 4 textbook. Pages 87 to 147 is the chapter on delivery. Please, of course, use the assignment template provided by Train Aid. We're looking again for a minimum of 4 references. You can, of course, use textbooks, a website, for example, here. A word count, we're roughly looking for between 2,000 to 3,000 words. You can, of course, write over that amount as well. Do feel free to include any photos, images to demonstrate your own teaching practice. And in terms of your own self, we would like to find out about current or future teaching practice examples as well. So do reflect on your current teaching role as well. In terms of submitting your assignment, of course, please send it in to the marking team at CET@train-aid.co.uk. They will mark your assignments within 5 working days and you can progress on to the next assignment, of course, while that is being marked. Okay, so we're going to jump in to our first question, okay? And criteria 1.1 is to analyse the effectiveness of teaching and learning approaches used in own area of specialism in relation to meeting the needs of learners, okay? So for this assignment, we would like for you to set the scene, okay? We'd like for you to begin with describing your own style of delivery, okay? So talk about your own self, okay? What is your preferred teaching style? Do you prefer perhaps a lecture style? Are you more of a facilitator? Do you promote lots of group work, paired work? We'd like to find out about your preferred teaching style, okay? Of course, as teachers and trainers, we deliver in a range of different styles depending on what we are teaching, but let's just start the assignment by reflecting on your preferred teaching style. Following on from that, we'd like for you to describe the resources you use within your classroom environment. Furthermore, perhaps what activities do you use with these resources? Perhaps you promote group work, paired work, for example. Do you get learners to use presentations, ICT? So really sort of following the your description of your preferred learning style, set the scene with what perhaps the learners are doing in terms of those activities and what resources you as a teacher and also the learners are going to be using. Furthermore, we'd like for you to explain a minimum of 4 different teaching and learning theories as well, okay? So what different teaching and learning theories underpin your own teaching delivery, okay? There's a variety within the textbook for you to research, such as Honey and Mumford. We have the sensory theory, experiential learning theory, cognitivism, to name a few, humanism, behaviourism, okay? There are a variety. We would like for you to reflect on a minimum of 4, okay? We would like for you to explain how does each of the chosen theories relate to your own teaching as well. So perhaps give examples of how humanism is used within your own lessons, okay? So we'd like for you to explain the relevance of that teaching and learning theory, how to underpin your own teaching. We'd like for you to explain the strengths and also limitations of each theory, okay? So what are the strengths of perhaps humanism or behaviourism, just to look at the different strengths, the limitations of those as well. So perhaps one strength and one limitation for each of your theory, okay? We'd also like for you to explain what approaches do you currently use within your teaching, and we'd like for you to reflect on a minimum of 3 here. It could be, for example, assignments, observations and presentations as well. Okay, so we'd like for you just to explain a minimum of 3 different approaches that you use with your learners. We'd like for you to explain can you apply these approaches to any of the teaching and learning theories? So just going back to your 4 theories, okay, if you use assignments, Does that ring any bells with any teaching and learning theories? Can you make the link there as well? We would also like for you to explain why you choose those approaches. Okay, so why do you promote them within your teaching and training? Are they successful? Are there any issues with them as well? Or is there any sort of suggestions or wise words that you can say when perhaps using assignments, for example? Okay, so what are the areas of good practice when promoting assignments with your learners? Okay, but as I said, we are very much setting the scene in terms of your delivery for this assignment. The next question is criteria 2.1. This is to analyse benefits and limitations of communication methods and media used in own area of specialism. Okay, so following talking about the actual delivery style that you have, we'd like for you to reflect on your own communication style as well. Okay, but first of all, what we'd like for you to do is we would like for you to say, how do you motivate learners within your classroom? Okay, what methods have worked for you? Okay, so we're setting the scene again in terms of your motivation style, the way that you communicate, ways to promote, how to engage your learners. So just give perhaps 2 or 3 examples there on how you motivate and engage learners. Furthermore, we'd like for you to describe the different methods of communication used within teaching, so verbal, non-verbal, and also written as well. So we'd like for you to define those 3. Okay, and furthermore, we'd like for you to provide examples of verbal, so speaking, non-verbal, okay, and written methods of communication. Okay, so we'd like for you to describe each one and provide examples there. So a non-verbal, for example, so your body language. Okay, how do you promote, say, positive body language to your learners? Okay, and also written communication, so perhaps examples of perhaps emails as well, perhaps a written reports, even marking is going to be giving examples there. And of course you can include images, which promotes communication from your own teaching. Following on from what communication methods and media do you use within your own teaching? So we would like for you to reflect on a minimum of 6 different examples here. Okay, so we'd like for you to talk about sort of different ways that you do this. So it could be things like social media, it could be perhaps assignment writing, written reports. Okay, perhaps how do you communicate with your learners, perhaps on Zoom or Skype, the benefits, the limitations of those. Do have a look within pages 113 to 115. You'll see a range of different communication and also media methods as well for you to choose from. Okay, but go for let's say a minimum of 6 here. You can of course create your own table as well to analyze the different strengths and limitations of those. So furthermore, we would like for you to mention, how do you communicate with your fellow colleagues as well? Okay, could it be through emails, curriculum design meetings, professional discussions? It could be preparing for EV visits and also things such as appraisals as well. We would like for you to perhaps reflect on a minimum of 3 there, and just explain the strengths and limitations of those 3 methods of communication with colleagues. So you could reflect on emails, what are the strengths and also limitations of emails. It could also be meetings as well, so the strengths and limitations with meetings and regular meetings as well. In terms of a word count, we're looking for 500 to 1,000 words as a minimum. And again, just do have a look at page 113 to 115 there. Okay, so we're reflecting on communication. We are now going to be moving on to technologies. Okay, so for criteria 3.1, we would like for you to analyse the benefits and limitations of technologies used in own area of specialism. Okay, so we're staying with delivery and we're thinking of what technologies do we use within our teaching and training in terms of promoting our sort of content, our knowledge over to learners, and we're going to be using technology to do that. So simply, what technologies do you use within your current teaching role? And we'd like for you to reflect on a minimum of 5 different technologies here. Okay, for example, videos, it could be again sort of social media platforms as well. It could be interactive apps or any type of interactive resources, websites to name a few. You can of course create this assignment answer into a table if you wish. For each technology, describe the technology, when is it used, and also why is the technology so successful within your teaching, okay? Do you promote this to your fellow colleagues as well? You could even have perhaps created the technology yourself, okay? If that's the case, do explain about how you created that technology. What's the feedback from the learners and colleagues? So what are their opinions, okay? If you've got any screenshots or any images of feedback, of course you can include that within this assignment answer. And also reflect on the strengths or drawbacks of these technologies. Can all your learners access the technologies that you promote, okay? What are the pitfalls? What things perhaps have gone wrong? And are there any contingency plans in place when using this technology? So think about if you're using perhaps cameras, for example, okay, what happens if they break, if there's a problem or error? Do you have any sort of contingency plans as well in place? So reflect on those ideas as well. Again, we're looking between 500 to 1,000 words. And again, have a look in textbook pages 112 to 115. There's a variety of different technologies there to look at. Okay, our final question within this assignment video is reflecting on 4.1. This is to analyse ways in which minimum core elements can be demonstrated when delivering inclusive teaching and learning. So in our previous assignment videos, we looked at the minimum core very much within planning and how you demonstrate that within your planning as a teacher, so planning schemes of work, for example. Now we are looking at the minimum core within delivery. So how do you deliver elements of the minimum core? How do you show that you're a competent teacher in terms of delivering the minimum core? So we're going to be looking at that. So give examples of how you demonstrate the minimum core in your own teaching delivery, literacy, language, numeracy, and ICT. So I'd aim for a minimum of 2 examples per each of the minimum core skills. So for example, it could be language. So you as a teacher, it could be delivering perhaps a lecture, okay, it could be perhaps reading from a textbook, or even getting your learners to perhaps read from a textbook, a chapter as well. In terms of numeracy, it could be you sort of calculating UCAS points, for example, or it could be perhaps you perhaps marking an assignment or a quiz, for example, totaling it up and giving that feedback back to the learner. So that shows that you are competent with your own numeracy skills in terms of your delivery. And also ICT, okay, it could be you demonstrating perhaps a website to learners, or getting them to perhaps watch a video that you've sent to them on perhaps YouTube, for example, to research, okay? So those are just ways that you promote the minimum core in terms of your own delivery. But we'd also like for you to think about why is it important that the minimum core is embedded in your teaching delivery. So obviously you're passing your skills, your knowledge onto your learners for them to use perhaps in their day-to-day lives, okay? And also think about, are there any challenges encountered when promoting the minimum core within your teaching delivery, okay? So any sort of experiences which haven't gone to plan, any pitfalls, anything that you can just mention there as well. In terms of the textbook, we'd like for you to reflect on pages 113 to 115. Do have a look at that again. Okay. In terms of word count, we're looking for a minimum of 500 words for this assignment criteria. Okay. And this brings us to the end of today's video. Okay, hopefully it's been some use. Okay, do send in your completed assignment to the team, CET@train-aid.co.uk, and they will review your assignment within 5 working days. Okay, from all of us here at Train Aid, thank you very much, and please progress to your next assignment.